drummer that sits behind this set has been playing drums for over 50 years and is Houston's most experienced drum instructor. He has taught over 1,000 students and has coached the likes of Frank Beard, Bobby Brock, and Randy May. He has played on over 100 studio recordings and has written 4 books. During the course of his career, he has been endorsed by Ludwig, Rogers, Pearl, and Tama. Some have said that this man is a legend in his own right and is comparable to Buddy Rich and Louis Bellson. Is this claim true, or is it an exaggeration? Well, listen for yourself, and you be the judge. Here is Joe Raynor. Here's what some of Joe's former students and current students have to say.
I started taking from Joe about 1965, studied with him for 12, 15 years. Taught alongside him at Brook Mays. He was teaching at Brockstein's when I first started. I used to ride the bus as a 10-year-old kid from East Houston to downtown, transferred downtown, and carried my little rudiment book and drumsticks out to Brockstein's on Caroline. It was an ordeal. It was an all-day, all-afternoon affair to take a 30-minute drum lesson, but in retrospect, it's well worth it. Joe, in my opinion, is is the best teacher in Houston because Joe teaches you how to play properly. He'll show you proper way to use your wrist. He'll show you correct way to use your fingers. And whether he knows the names of all the hottest guys at the time or not, I really don't remember. But I know he helped me to develop my playing to a point where I was able to play what I heard, play the licks that were in my head, and play what I heard other people playing that I wanted to duplicate. It wasn't limited by bad habits and improper technique that comes along with people when they're self-taught.
The way he's helped me is because, number one, I've never actually taken lessons, and I don't know how to read music, so he's just very patient, and he's helped me like hands-on rather than just writing it down. He has a lot of patience to work with students, especially with me. I'm probably his worst one. That's a key to every teacher. Be patient, so you gotta have patience with your students. He's taking the time to show me the technique, a lot of wrist action, rather than just being a robot. And that was my big mistake. I was trying to be a robot rather than using the wrist action.
I think the thing that makes Joe Raynor such a good drum instructor is the fact that he has mastered the rudiments so well. In addition to that, the fact that he's been playing drums for over 50 years, he's been able to amass such a wealth of knowledge. Most drum instructors haven't even lived 50 years, much less played for 50 years. And I think Joe is a really valuable resource for us drummers to have today, simply because he's a bridge from the old-time big band swing era to the modern era drummer as we know it today.
I've been taking drum lessons for 6 weeks, and from what I can see, Joe knows the difference between a beginner and an advanced drummer. He can read in my eyes when I get confused or the lesson's progressing too rapidly, and immediately stops, goes back over the material, slows down, and repeats it, and then allows me to play it. So I always go home with plenty to work on, but yet I never feel like I'm pushed too fast. So he's just been a real good teacher.
I think about the times that I went into for my lessons. I always anticipated, I always looked forward to those lessons every week, because the man embraces you when you walk into his studio. And that's so important for a young player, to feel good about what they're doing, feel good about the lesson itself and who's teaching them. Joe is such a great, he's a great teacher as well as a great technician. He can teach you the rudiments and the technique, but the way he purveys it to you, the way he purveys it to young people still today, is what is so necessary. He's excited about teaching, and he instills that excitement in you about what you're learning.
He helped me learn notes, and he taught me some rudiments out of the rudiment book. And he's pretty good.
Well, my name is Hal Roberts, and I studied with Joe for 4 years in my high school days, all the way through the first year in college. The thing that I would have to say about Joe Raynor is that he gave me the tools to pursue a career. And those tools were the foundation of drums. He gave me the books. He gave me the discipline and the education to pursue not only a career, but to find out what I needed to know in the future. It's very important. Today, I teach, and I find that quite a few of the students walk in and they want to walk out MTV drummers in 60 days. It can't happen. You can't do that. What you have to do is you have to prepare yourself with a great foundation of books that have been written already, and learn those books, develop your craft, make it work for you, and learn everything you can, and then you can go out in the world and be a drummer, and you can develop and absorb everything everybody else is doing. 4 years that I took lessons from him, he was never harsh, never upsetting. He was always encouraging. I listened to everything he said, and I did it his way, and I came out on the better side for it. He is absolutely beautiful, and I've just seen so many doggone good drummers come out of his studios. Quite a few of them have gone on to great, great success in the movie industries and the TV industries. They have done wonderful, wonderful things and couldn't have done it without Joe Raynor.
I'm a professional drummer. I'm the executive director of Jazz Education, Inc., a nonprofit organization here in Houston. And I'm also a former student of Joe Raynor. And I think it's important for all drummers to have a private instructor. And I think that especially when you're young and starting out, it's even more imperative that you have somebody that can give you the right technique, the proper tools you need in order to make a career out of music. Joe helped me later on in my career. Matter of fact, I had finished college when I went to Joe Raynor, and I was working in a group called the Light Men, and we were all gung-ho about having to get ourselves better, to make yourself better as a musician. And it was all suggested that everybody take private lessons. So I went to Joe Raynor, and it happened to be right before I went on the road to start my career on the road, and it was a tremendous help for me to go to Joe.
My name is Frank Serro. After touring Japan and Korea with the Drifters, I found music to be a universal language. We communicate through it, it moves us, it speaks to us, and it can leave us with lasting impressions. Thank you, Joe Raynor, for teaching me the language of music. Joe's very positive method of teaching is infectious and breaks down barriers to communication. Thanks again, Joe.
Hi, my name's Herb Brockstein. I'm the founder and chairman of ProMark. It's ProMark Drumstick Company here in Houston, Texas. I've known Joe, I think since the late 50s. He was a teacher, professional player, and a very, very good friend. Was and still is today. Probably one of the most outstanding teachers that ever gave instructions in this part of the country. I don't know for sure how many people today are aware of this, but Joe came in second to Louis Bellson in a national Gene Krupa contest in the 50s. In any event, I've known Joe for that many years, and he is an outstanding teacher, very, very dedicated, and I think it's for anyone that's interested in drums and drumming and music, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend Joe to you. He's got the experience professionally. I know he's done recordings, television work, live performances with all kinds of bands, all kinds of styles.